All eyes on them. Lee Jun-ho and Im Yoon-ah's first public appearance together. The love story between Lee Jun-ho and Im Yoon-ah has always felt like something straight out of a K-drama. Two top-tier stars with undeniable chemistry on screen, years of friendship, and an eventual confession that sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update in the world of your favorite celebrities. While their agency's confirmations months ago made headlines across Asia, there was one thing everyone had been desperately waiting for. Their first public appearance. Together. Not as characters. Not as colleagues. But as a couple. And on this particular autumn night in Seoul, that moment finally arrived. And it was far more breathtaking than anyone had dared to imagine. The build-up. A city holding its breath. The location was the annual Seoul International Film and Fashion Gala, the single most glamorous event on the Korean entertainment calendar. Every year, the country's biggest actors, directors, and models gather for an evening of awards, art, and red carpet perfection. This year, however, the buzz wasn't about which films would win or which designer gowns would dominate the headlines. It was about whether the king and queen of visuals themselves, Lee Jun-ho and Im Yoon-ah, would walk that carpet together. From morning till night, the venue outside the iconic Dongdaemun Design Plaza transformed into a fortress of flashing cameras, velvet ropes, and barricades holding back hundreds of screaming fans. Some came draped in luxury blankets to withstand the chilly breeze, holding banners that read, Yoon-ho forever. Real-life king and queen. Juno, take care of Yoona. The energy was almost electric. You could feel the heartbeat of the crowd. The moment the world stopped. At exactly 8:10 p.m., a hush fell over the crowd. Even the MC announcing arrivals paused mid-sentence. The familiar hum of camera shutters quieted, replaced by the faint rumble of an approaching car motorcade. First came a sleek, black Genesis sedan, stopping right at the start of the carpet. The back door opened slowly, and out stepped Lee Jun-ho, dressed in a custom-tailored black tuxedo with a satin lapel, paired with a crisp white shirt and a perfectly tied bow tie. He looked every bit the leading man he has always been. His hair was styled into a smooth, side-swept look, and under the bright carpet lights, his smile radiated that same charm that once melted millions during King the Land. The photographers erupted into a frenzy. Fans screamed his name. But even in the chaos, Jun-ho kept his composure, bowing politely to the press and giving a short wave. Then, the second car door opened. The entrance of Im Yoon-ah. And there she was. Im Yoon-ah, stepping out into the Seoul night like a vision pulled straight from a fairy tale. She wore a floor-length silver gown adorned with thousands of hand-stitched crystal beads that caught the light with every tiny movement, as if the stars themselves had descended to dance on her dress. Her hair fell in soft waves, framing her face, and her makeup was delicate yet luminous, a look that seemed to glow from within. She didn't over-accessorize. No heavy necklaces or oversized earrings. Just a pair of delicate diamond studs and a quiet confidence that needed no embellishment. The air seemed to shift as she stood beside the car, and fans began chanting in unison, Yoon-ho, Yoon-ho, Yoon-ho. The decision that changed everything. They could have kept it low-key. They could have walked separately down the carpet and avoided adding fuel to the fire. But Lee Jun-ho had other plans. The moment he saw Yoon-ah step onto the pavement, he crossed the small distance between them. Without hesitation, he extended his hand. For a split second, the world seemed to hold its breath. And then she took it. The walk heard around the world. The screams were deafening. Cameras flashed so rapidly it looked like lightning. The two walked down the red carpet hand in hand, every step deliberate, unhurried, as if they knew the weight of the moment they were creating. Jun-ho's hand rested protectively at the small of her back, guiding her with subtle gestures. Yoon-ah occasionally leaned closer, whispering something that made him smile. Not the polished press-ready smile, but that unguarded grin fans had only ever seen in behind-the-scenes clips. When they stopped for photos, the MC called out, "This is your first official appearance together since confirming your relationship. How does it feel?" Jun-ho glanced at Yoon-ah first before answering, It feels natural. We've always been a good team. She smiled softly and added, and it's nice not to hide it anymore. The crowd erupted again. Inside the venue, the subtle love story continues. The magic didn't end when they stepped off the carpet. Inside the grand ballroom, the two were seated side by side at a table with other A-list stars. Every so often, during lulls in conversation, they leaned toward each other, sharing quiet words that made them both laugh. When Yoon's shawl slipped slightly off her shoulders during the opening ceremony, Junho was quick to adjust it. A small gesture, but one that didn't go unnoticed by the sharp eyes of the press. Clips of the moment would later flood social media, accompanied by captions like, "The way he looks at her. I can't. He's so in love. Protect this couple at all costs." An award, a look, 1,000 stories. Midway through the night, Yoon was called on stage to present the award for Best Director. Junho stood immediately, pulling her chair back for her like a true gentleman. As she walked away, the camera cut to him in the audience, his eyes following her every step. When she returned, he was there again, quietly pushing her chair in before she sat down. No words, just actions that spoke volumes. The departure that melted the internet. By the end of the night, they had given the world enough to talk about for months. But they weren't finished. As they left the venue, walking down the stone steps into the crisp night air, a sudden breeze swept across the plaza. A strand of Yoon's hair blew into her face. Without a second thought, Junho reached up and tucked it gently behind her ear, his fingers lingering for the briefest moment. They shared a look, one of those deep, silent gazes that can only exist between two people completely in tune with each other. The cameras captured it, and within minutes it was everywhere. The aftermath. By midnight, hashtags like #Woonicho first appearance, #Junho protecting Yoon, and #visual couple goals were trending worldwide. Fan edits flooded Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. International news outlets picked up the story. Even fashion brands began reposting their red carpet photos with captions like, "Elegance meets elegance. Seoul's new royal couple." For fans, this wasn't just a red carpet walk. It was confirmation, not from a press release, not from an interview, but from their eyes, their hands, their smiles. Somewhere in the quiet of the night, away from the flashing lights, Lee Junho and Yoon probably shared a simple car ride home. No cameras, no crowds, just the two of them, holding hands, knowing that the world now saw them exactly as they are, together. The secret flight that wasn't so secret. At 5:30 a.m., before the city had fully woken up, a small convoy of black SUVs slipped quietly through Incheon Airport's VIP entrance. At first, airport staff assumed it was just another celebrity departure. But whispers began to spread when the first SUV door opened and Lee Junho stepped out, dressed casually in a black hoodie, baseball cap, and fitted jeans. Seconds later, another door opened, and Yoon appeared. No gown, no diamonds, just an oversized cream sweater, simple trousers, and white sneakers. Yet even in this understated look, she drew stares from every direction. Fans catch on, airport turns into chaos. Somehow, word spread faster than the couple could get to security. By the time they reached the departure hall, dozens of fans had gathered, their phones raised high, calling out their names. "Yoonho! Yoonho! Junho! Yoona! Where are you going?" Security guards moved quickly, forming a protective shield around them. But even from behind the guard line, fans noticed something that made them scream louder. Junho carrying both his and Yoon's carry-on bags. The airport moment that melted hearts. In the middle of the chaos, as cameras flashed from every angle, a small moment happened that no one missed. A particularly loud group of fans shouted, "We love you!" and Yoon instinctively turned to wave. In doing so, her oversized sweater sleeve got caught on her bag strap. Before she could fix it, Junho stepped in, gently untangling it for her and adjusting the strap so it sat comfortably on her shoulder. It was such a natural, intimate gesture, the kind you only do for someone you deeply care about. The clip would later go viral, captioned, Find someone who adjusts your bag strap like Yoon Ho. Destination revealed: Paris, France. Once they cleared immigration, the truth came out. Their flight was bound for Paris, just in time for Fashion Week. It was no coincidence. Yoon had been invited as a global ambassador for a luxury brand's runway show, and Yoon Ho, with his growing influence in the fashion world, was rumored to be shooting an editorial spread in the city. But for fans, the professional reasons were secondary. What mattered was simple: they were going together. Paris arrival. A movie scene come to life. After a 13-hour flight, the couple touched down at Charles de Gaulle Airport. Paris greeted them with golden afternoon sunlight streaming through tall glass windows. Even jet-lagged, they looked like a scene from a romance film. Yoon in a beige trench coat and beret. Yoon Ho in a tailored wool coat with a scarf loosely draped around his neck. The paparazzi, both Korean and European, were already waiting. And here came the moment that turned into the picture of the trip. As they stepped outside into the crisp Paris air, Yoon Ho reached out and intertwined his fingers with Yoon's, guiding her toward their waiting car. Paris Fashion Week, all eyes on them. Their first public outing in Paris was at the Louis Vuitton runway show. The couple didn't walk in together officially, a strategic move to avoid overshadowing the event, but inside the venue, keen-eyed guests noticed them seated only one row apart. During the brief pauses between shows, Yoon Ho would lean over, speaking to her with that same quiet attentiveness fans had fallen in love with. Fashion bloggers couldn't stop talking about it. Headlines read: Korea's visual royalty takes over Paris. Even in Fashion Week's chaos, Yoon Ho and Yoon only have eyes for each other. Private Paris moments, spotted by fans. Over the next 3 days, lucky fans caught glimpses of the pair exploring the city during their downtime. Day 1. At a small cafe in Le Marais, Yoon Ho was seen pouring Yoon's coffee and passing her a slice of croissant with a smile. Day 2. They visited the Louvre, keeping close in the crowd, with Yoon Ho occasionally pointing out paintings while Yoon listened intently. Day 3. A nighttime stroll along the Seine, where a fan captured a distant shot of them standing on a bridge, their silhouettes framed against the sparkling Eiffel Tower. The farewell scene. Back to Seoul, stronger than ever. When they returned to Incheon Airport a week later, the reception was nothing short of a hero's welcome. Hundreds of fans lined the arrival hall, holding flowers, banners, and welcome signs. The couple emerged side by side, smiling and waving, not trying to hide, not avoiding questions, but simply existing as a couple in the public eye. And just before they stepped into their car, Yoon Ho placed his hand lightly at Yoon's back, guiding her forward as if to say, "I've got you." That small moment summed up everything. And if this story touched you, subscribe and share it so we can keep his memory alive together. This trip didn't just mark their first overseas appearance as a couple, it solidified them as one of Asia's most beloved power pairs, both in the industry and in the hearts of millions of fans.